live. We are live. Let's see. Although it's not pop. Oh yeah, here we go. All right, happy Tuesday. Welcome to week 22. Welcome to week 22 of this gigantic range in the Qs and the NAS. The action is interesting. I actually had a thought yesterday that an outside reversal would look disgusting. And MBG tweeted about it was kind of funny. He had tweeted he was lightening the load on a bunch of positions, and I tweeted at him. I said, "Hey, Duzio called and he said to put your man pants back on." And I tweeted him again like right shortly thereafter. I'm like, please just don't let this tweet be a market top tweet. And sure as shit, we kind of got the roll today, which I don't know, kind of I don't know, leads to the question, what the fuck is going to bust us out of this range? And are we going to head back to the low end of the range? Let's just say we think that this is ultimately going to resolve to the upside. Are we going to head back to the low end of the range before we break out, or what is going to bust us? I guess even if you think we are rolling over, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Where's your head at?
The general weakness underneath is palpable, right? Like it's pretty bad. And then you have things like Tesla that only want to go when the market is dying.
It's so weird to me
but
too.
We're range bound, right? We just continue to be range bound. There is a persistent seller at that October high who comes in without any resistance and just destroys us at the top and comes in and covers at the bottom. Has been for a little while. Only 22 weeks of this. We just go back and test the bottom of the range, right? So in this case, we still got another 300 points down from here on the NQs. We'll probably undercut it, and then there will be a time where we won't bounce, or there will be a, you know what I mean? Like either way, it's range bound. There's not much to do, but what you have to watch is the amount of weakness that's sitting underneath. Now, if you're a boomer, you're loving this stuff because boomer stocks are crushing right now.
Yeah.
FedEx, UPS, IBM, Cisco, like we can go through the list. Royal Caribbean cruise lines, they're selling their gold, buying their around the world cruises, saying fuck off to your wealth destruction.
Yeah, damn.
But yeah, it's been quite weak all day. There doesn't seem to be any hope. You got to just get to the bottom of the range because that's only time when you get to any potential hope or anything. You don't see much going on here. It's very, very weak bounces. Now gold and silver are starting to give it up too. Like it's all range bound. The funny thing about silver is it got crushed on Friday. Friday's a big expiry day, month end. Monday's an expiry day as well. It's beginning month. And then as soon as the month, the expiries stop being a resistance, there's no expiration today, it pops up, right? Assuming that tomorrow's another expiration, so silver will die again. It is a market that continues to be dictated by flow, right? Consistent flow and premiums and options. There, as you can see with the introduction of Monday, Wednesday, Friday options on a lot of these names, the direct market is going to at some point overtake the actual stock market, right? And that's your driving flows ultimately.
I can definitely feel the exhaustion. I wouldn't say it's like despair quite levels yet, but I can definitely feel the exhaustion just across FinTwit. StockTwits is pretty quiet on both sides. Even like, FinTwit on X, it's just kind of a lot of like from like what I'm seeing, it's a lot of just kind of shit posting. People kind of like making fun of each other for, either calling like the commodities, the silver gold top or vice versa. There's not really, and I'm starting to see more posts talking about like, hey, if we do head into a correction, these are the names that I'm going to be, DCAing and or like building positions in. But it's kind of like that new age, Shea Buller kind of group of stocks. Like Tesla, EOSE, IREN. I mean, there's a couple of others. So I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of why I was like, prior to the show, even if you call this if you are a bull and you're calling this a stock pickers market, you really can't trust anything other than the behavior of your individual names. Is that Bags chiming in? Is he? What's he doing? Oh wait, did I just tweet? What YouTube am I? Oh, I'm on my YouTube. What the heck?
It is Bags
No
coming in.
wonder
He
that
says
makes
we are
more
not
sense.
bullish enough.
Yeah. I was looking at the 2021 top of the Qs, and because of the way the kind of double toppy like horns kind of look within this range look very similar. It was just in 2021 we broke down after 12 weeks, and it just feels as though this is more of a correction through time than price. If we haven't broken down now like in a serious manner, what's gonna break us down out of this. But yeah, I was kind of with you. Looking at like kind of the boomer stocks. Honeywell's busting out of like a massive range. Yesterday XPO took off. Kind of another one that was in like a massive range. And then even like Old Dominion, kind of a boomer name, kind of taking off and busting out of this wedge and kind of ripping higher too. I don't know. Like I just, even playing the long side, it's exhausting is the only way that I can really like put a like if I was gonna put a feeling on the vibe, it would be just exhausted.
Yep.
Anything you're playing to the short side? Are you intraday trading or like what are you doing? What's your approach
I think the
currently?
only game plan in this market is to be flat every single day, and then because if you're holding anything long, you're just getting crushed.
Yeah.
On any up day, because the next day is guaranteed down day.
Yeah, my P&L is just kind of chopping sideways. Pretty much just chopping sideways. I was kind of I hate to kind of flip flop. Yesterday's bar got me, despite the fact that it was on a Monday. I think buying a gap down Monday is usually a no brainer, especially kind of where we were opening right there on the 50-day. And then we put in like a nice engulfing bar. Granted, the volume wasn't excessively high, so you didn't really get the volume confirmation. It's just, after getting this outside reversal. So, leading into the end of the week, let's see, we've got, let me pull up the earnings calendar. So we've got, AMD today, Google, Uber tomorrow, Amazon, and it feels really to me like, I don't know, Wednesday, Thursday could be a very kind of market, directional defining moment, but I'm looking a little bit further out to see if we have, let's see, March. Cookie's aggressive calls looking a little suspect, unfortunately.
Yeah, dude. but he plays price action ultimately, right? So
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think the thing is, right, even though we're range bound, you have to look at the destruction that's underneath. It is insanity what they're doing to these names. It's like they're all going to zero, right? Look at what
Look
they've
at
done to
you.
you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Look
I
at
was
what
just
they've
gonna
done to
pull that
you.
up. The
Look at what they've done
IGV
to
getting him.
you, Reddit, Dash, Disney. The list can go on forever on the names that are massive. Oh, dude, PayPal absolutely hammered on earnings. I already knew this was garbage, so it just confirmed it. But
Yeah.
right,
Joey
like we
Rockets
just
coined the term pain pal, and I fucking loved it. I was like, dude, that's perfect name for it. Yeah, I don't know. It's just AI has thrown a major wrench into, I think, the overall action, because I think it just seems like we have no clue how to really price anything. I mean, ultimately, you would imagine that most of these are going to get incredibly more profitable as the labor force gets diced. But then at the same time, it's like, well, if you cut the labor force, then who's buying all this shit? Really? Dead money for
yeah.
close,
Well, no
dude.
one's buying it. That's the problem, right?
Yeah.
um, yeah, there's handfuls of names that are holding up, but your Microsoft call of 400 is coming in. Looks like full gap fill coming for this thing.
Instant. Yeah.
Brutal. Meta rejected the gap for earnings, and that's going back for a gap fill. Coin can't find a bottom. Yeah, like there's not much that looks good outside of the boomer names, right? Like you can say we're not bullish enough. You can do all that stuff. We can have all those conversations, but I blasted out a lot of shit Friday because I'm like, that's some bad weekly closes, bad
Yeah.
monthly closes. I'm not dealing with that. Like I'm not running
AVG.
in.
Okay. Yeah, totally. It's a good point. Like, probably something worth talking about. Like we can have our theories and beliefs about this or that, but the reality is like you've got to manage risk, and just because you think we're gonna moon doesn't mean it's gonna pay to hold on to a name that's getting absolutely smoked.
Yep.
But
Like if you housing names are really strong today if you're watching, right? Look at Home Depot, look at Lowe's, look at BLDR. So it's a really kind of like, wait, you can't have housing names be strong if the economy is not strong and people can't buy houses. So like, why would these names be strong? I guess Home Depot's defensive because it has a dividend, but Open is up too. No dividend, nothing, right? And it's been crushed, but why not keep crushing it? Why be up today, right? Like ultimately,
yeah,
and so like you're looking at it's bifurcated for a lot of stuff, but there's no trend. There's zero trend. The only trend you can count on is if we are in a massive sell-off, Tesla will be green somehow for no reason at all. That is the
yeah,
only reason, only trend that I see that works consistently until the end of the day, and then Tesla sells off with the rest of the market. It is proven without a shadow of the doubt that it will always work. But sorry, I'm just being whatever. But frustration is probably the best way to describe the price action, but the price action is bad, right? Like
yeah.
it's not good. Like, but then you have FedEx. Look at FedEx.
Monster.
Like, what? It doesn't make a lot of sense. So I think as traders, ultimately we rely on our edge to trade the markets, and this market is not giving you much edge. So you could do one of maybe a handful of things, which is trade small, wait for the edge to return, or go flat every day, right? Swinging, all that other stuff doesn't seem to work too well until you have some type of edge. We can't, like, if you're a seller, you're frustrated because if you look at the price action underneath, things are getting obliterated across the board, yet
Yeah.
indices aren't breaking down. So you're like, okay, well, I'm going to buy puts to hedge my position. So you're getting fucked twice, right? So this is very reminiscent of 2022, or 2021, so to speak, where lots of names just continued to get crushed. And if you were buying puts, swing puts, not intraday or zero DTE puts, you weren't doing that well, right?
Yeah. You know, looking at
Right.
the
So, but like,
cues and we're like right here. So we get
yeah,
something nasty like this tomorrow, and it's kind of like risk off entirely.
I think that's going to be too obvious, Nick. What I'm looking at is a scenario of like a .com crisis, right? Where
Sure.
we do another couple of months like this, they're distributing out at the top essentially, and you're seeing the trends, the trends that have been holding up so far are breaking one by one as well, right? So like
Yeah.
silver and gold and that whole space were doing pretty well
I thought
going
maybe
into.
they were gonna kind of rotate that into like copper and because copper and uranium still looked pretty good. I thought.
Yeah, they don't. None of this actually looks bad, but what I'm saying is the trend is breaking,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
SanDisk, right? You're seeing the volatility increase at the top. SNDK.
Oops.
So this name has been up and to the right without flinching, and the last 3 or 4 days has shown you lots of volatility up here. To me, this is probably marking the start of a consolidation period or just a straight destruction period, right? It's
Yeah.
cheap. I get that. I'm not arguing any of that stuff. But when you have price be this volatile, it's just something to note, right? And Micron was in the same boat from that perspective. So yeah, like you just got to be cautious. So you can. There you go. Tesla's red, like clockwork. But yeah, I don't know. Like I don't have a gauge. I don't have an edge ultimately, right? And with no edge, it's smaller size and taking haircuts where, like nicks and bruises, right? Versus getting straight up Fight Club.
Yeah. Are you in any XLE names?
ExxonMobil.
Exxon still? Yeah.
I have some portfolio saving names: ExxonMobil, Rio Tinto,
Yeah, I'm in
FSLR.
CVX.
FSLR is randomly up. I don't even understand why.
Yeah.
That thing's first to die always.
I feel like every time I think of First Solar, I feel like I've had horrible timing with it, and it's kind of one of those names where I'm like, let's go back to the gold conversation. Might as well just set my alerts at the fucking highs and ignore it till then.
Dude, it is a miserable trader. Miserable,
Yeah.
right? Like, but there's a lot of miserable traders, and this one falls into that category in terms of miserable. Like, this is a low float name, so like they probably just need to split to increase the float to stop being such a miserable trader.
What does tan look like? Tan still looks all right. Interesting.
Yeah, 10 looks okay, and this is, yeah, I don't have much edge, and like when you sell, like you could be in a stock and it's down for like 3 straight days and you're like, okay, I'm done, and then as soon as you sell it
It pops.
reverses the LOA. So like
Yeah.
that stuff, if that stuff's happening to you consistently over the last few months, then you have no edge, right? Like
Yeah,
you
totally.
can't you can't fight that. Like you just gotta step back and wait for the market to provide an edge in which you can actually be successful. So
I was talking to a client the other day about chop and the idea of FOMO and how I think a lot of those that suffer and get chopped up and deal with the FOMO likely are anxious people and suffer from somewhat of like a lack mindset, as in like there's never enough. Because the reality is that at least in my opinion, the market presents itself with like it's a casino. There's an infinite amount of opportunity. Um, you know, it may kind of vary depending on the time frame that you align with, but when you are getting chopped up, like that's you're kind of like that is a signal, I guess
yep,
ultimately is where I'm going. Like that is a signal to either you're right, either cut size or just go on vacation. Go take a break. Um, I think the way that I have kind of approached um, a lot of my names individually has been just smaller size and trying to be a little bit more patient. And I think that's largely been, and that really shifted once we were past, I think about week, God, what was it? I think somewhere around week 12 or 13, 14. I don't remember when it was, but I was like, this is not, it's not breaking out. And I think a lot of corrections, from kind of my O'Neill reading is like, most you see a lot of like 8 to 12 week time frame, and if we're not going to get the breakout after that kind of that sweet spot, then again, that's another signal telling you that we just need more time. And like, you know, I don't know, the noise is so loud right now too. You know,
yep,
you hop on, and that was one thing that had me again kind of leaning bullish, and it sounds kind of dark to say something like that, but generally when the noise is loud and there's a lot of distraction, I usually think that we're gonna resume higher. Like we're gonna like max pain at that point is higher. And that's actually kind of why I'd sent that text yesterday. Like I was feeling so fucking feisty, and just wanted to argue, telling it's just in my mind. I want to tell everyone to fuck off for whatever reason. Like I don't
yep,
even have a reason. I just want to tell everyone like just fuck off. Like I don't want to hear it. And it worked for a day. We got a day bounce off the 50 day, and then of course we get today, and it just like completely rolls. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think XLE is definitely an area of like of focus, and where I think where we should be like if you are trying to swing trade, I think XLE and energy is probably, and of course like the boomer names, sure, but um, where we're at in the XLE, like I'd basically just continue to drag the fibs up. Um, like if you're not currently in like XO, I mean XOM starting to look. I mean, yeah, you caught a nice run there. Some of the other ones, I think there's still room. Not that I don't think XOM is going to continue. I just think that you've kind of missed your entry if you're not already in it. But even so, like if you're looking for an XOM entry, you could probably drag your fibs up. You've got the 50% of 132 kind of in alignment with like, this gap here. 50-day probably curls up, and so long as it's going to start to really trend and melt, by the time you get a 50% correction on this trend, or even like the 0.382, hopefully the 50-day will somewhat have kind of caught up to price, or it's not quite as extended, but um What was another one I was looking at? Not Oxy. I mean, how Buffett gonna make his comeback in Oxy? I mean, man, you're almost
tired. You don't give two shits no more.
no. Let's flip it over to the chat. You guys got any names you want to run through?
I don't like. While we wait for that, I don't know if there's any name that's even like, even if they're holding up, right? Like if this market decides to actually take out these distribution lows here in the overall markets, like I don't know why you'd want to be long here. Anything, maybe for a day trade or something like that, but you have AMD earning. Everything's a one-day wonder. So even if AMD earnings are great and it pops, doesn't mean it's going to hold. Like nothing sticks, right? Like look at Meta. It's there's nothing that sticks.
Yeah,
Meta
Meta's
has
disappointing.
spent the last 3 days since earnings just selling down.
I just hope it holds this island.
Meta,
Like
it already isn't. It already isn't. That's my point, right? So
well, this isn't a true wick, is it?
No, that one isn't. But that 691 level is what I think needs to hold, right? That was the prior island bottom range.
Oh, sure.
So I'm hoping it tests that and goes higher, but there's no guarantees here, right? Like in terms of price action. So yeah, it's just like, dude, look at spot. If you're trying to to catch, look at this. This has been down straight down, and today for whatever reason is down another 7%, right? And then you have Coin, which has been straight down and is down another 5.5%. You have Oracle, which has not stopped going down since we talked about the capitulation to the upside, right? At 300 plus.
Yeah.
There is the brutality is it's across the board in these weak names. And if you're in the strong names, you're holding up a little bit. And most likely this is your scenario. You probably have like 1% in FDX and 10% in Tesla. So you're still feeling a lot of pain ultimately. Because no one's going to allocate 10% to FDX, even though it's the thing that's working.
Damn. I kind of like stopped paying attention to Netflix. Holy shit.
Netflix is going to 69, right? Like oddly enough.
Yeah. You think it's worth trying to catch a knife down here?
Nope.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Right? So just pull up the NQs, right? The last couple of days, like 5 or 10 minute chart or whatever you want to do. It's really simple if you're watching the NQs. And I don't mean this to be, I'm not trying to be, but it's simple. We got to the top of the range. We spent the next 24 hours pretty much going sideways. And now we're going back to the bottom of the range. This is literally the playbook. It goes to the top, it goes back down to the bottom, it goes to the top, it goes back to the up. As soon as you see sideways action in this, it's time to short it. Yeah. Sell it or short it, right? As soon as, like, these sideways actions aren't bullish consolidations, they're distributions.
Ours is calling us doomer bros. Downer doomer bros. Just a straight wet blanket episode, isn't it?
But take a look at the price action. What do you like? We're down on the Qs. We are down. What are we down? 1.74% today, right? And Nvidia's down 3.7, Meta's down 1.3, Baba's down 4%, Microsoft down 3%, Broadcom is down 6%, Coin is down 5.4%, Oracle is down 3.5%, AMD is down just as much as the indices, 1.7%, Spot is down 7%, Amazon's down 2.25%. Hims is down 6% after being down 70%. Shall I go on? Unity Software is down 12.5% after being destroyed. TTD down another 10%. Look at, dude, if you are trying to catch,
holy shit,
if you are trying to catch bottoms, you are getting manhandled, like thoroughly manhandled. And yeah, like if you want me to be a bullish wet blanket, which I don't know if that actually exists, but you got to give me better price action, right? Like,
yeah.
so Palantir had a good earnings. It's going to be hard to ignore those earnings, but it's going lower.
Maybe not.
It's going lower, boss. Like,
maybe it holds
to me,
here.
it's a massive distribution cycle, right? Like,
I mean, it does look
Palantir,
head and topish.
Yeah, right. Like, Hood. We talked about this, right? It's going to be really, really, really hard in 2026 for Hood and Palantir to have comparables, right? Law of large numbers, etc. And so all of that stuff gets priced in, right? What's the price before peaks before growth? Isn't that the normal standard?
Sorry, I was reading. I was reading the chat. Say that again.
I said price peaks before growth.
Yeah.
Right. So Tesla is probably your greatest example of price peaking nearly 2 years before growth peaked. Right. So if you go to Tesla for a second and go back to the weekly.
On Tesla?
Yeah.
I still think Tesla looks all right.
No, but what I'm trying to say is if you go back to 2021, right? That peak in 2021 in price at 414.50 was the price peak before growth. Growth got cut in half in 2024. 2 years before growth actually started to come down, right? Like, so just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
So even if Palantir is doing okay off these earnings, I think the market is pricing in what they see is a slowdown in growth. They can continue growing, but if they go from a 20, 30% clip to a 5% clip, what's the value in it, right?
Sure. I don't know. I really thought we were shifting where like growth and Momo was just taking a breather and Mag was going to kind of like step back in. You know, just kind of again and kind of looking how long these things have already been range bound. I mean, other than Google. You know, you could really argue that Amazon's been in a 2-year range. You know, really since February. It hasn't really. I don't know, man. Zaw had some good names. Go back up there.
I'm sure there's handfuls of names, but you got to find which one every day.
Yeah. I'm in a pretty decent winner in VIAV. I don't know if any of you guys caught that. I was posting on StockTwits. I actually took the idea from God, who posted it? I don't remember who posted it. Somebody, a Market Smith person. I don't know who it was, but
yeah,
I was looking at the base on the, or the kind of the stage 1 base on the monthly, and I don't know. Maybe I just got lucky, but
I don't.
Yeah, CLMT. I do like the way that looks. Zai, you in this already, or are you waiting for highs? Yeah, Amazon on Thursday, Google on Wednesday. I don't know. Just again, I'm trying not to get too headstrong in one direction or the other. I think the end of the week is going to be pretty significant. What is MO?
I don't know how these earnings help us, right? Like we can have these conversations, but Jensen's been saying I'm going to invest billions and billions of dollars into every company on the planet because I don't know what to do with my cash, and yet we still keep going down. One of the greatest allocators of our time is telling you he's investing, yet the market is pushing down across the board. So Amazon, Google, all these names can be one day wonders to hold us up for a day. Like yesterday, Apple rocked out, so we didn't see the weakness underneath the markets, but Apple rocked out. So yeah, IWM continues to
holding up
shine.
pretty good today. Damn.
What?
Apple. Oh yeah, what is? Oof. Yeah, China not. What's the emerging markets looking like? Well, this morning I tweeted, might as well just go full port the socks on TQs, and that didn't work
I think your
out.
best bet is cash, right?
Cash.
Like I think that's your best bet, and wait for this to resolve. You can take some key shorts here and there, but I don't. Yeah, I don't have an edge, right? Like zero edge in the overall markets. You might have an edge in certain names, sure, but overall markets, not much. Bonds are useless. What's that?
Let's say Amazon or Google. I'm primarily thinking Amazon. Amazon gaps, 250 plus.
Yeah.
You don't think that's enough to drag the Qs out of this range
For one day?
for one day?
You tell me. Meta went nuts, and how long did that last?
Yeah, I don't think Meta. I mean, I guess maybe I'm wrong in thinking that, but I don't think Meta's enough to. I want to see what the. Yeah, so the largest holdings in the queue by weight. I guess now that I'm looking at this, I'm a little bit more surprised that Apple wasn't enough to kind of drag us out as it kind of broke out yesterday, being that it's an 8%, where Meta's sub 4%. It's like a 3.9. Yeah, I guess Google's even below Meta. I wasn't. And I thought Amazon was bigger than it is, but Amazon's at 4.9%. Well, that's the wrap. Bags, that's the show. Wet blanket, Humor Bros. There we go. We'll be up today, up tomorrow. It'll be a nice reversal day tomorrow, and then we'll flip flop and throw our bull pants back on.
I don't know how you can flip flop if things don't start to act better for more than one day, right? Look at what they're doing to silver right now, right? It just went from 89 to 83 in 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Yeah, silver looks rough. What's FCX doing?
To go intraday?
You know, you should be trading if you're going to be day trading the silver. Should be hitting the AGQ. You want to talk day trading strategies?
I don't want to talk anything.
Sure. I'll kind of,
Oh, man.
I've talked about it before. I'll kind of, a lot of when I am day trading, a lot of my a lot of my decision making is based on the first 60-minute range. So like, in I would have definitely gotten stopped out, but I probably would have reversed the trade. Um, if I was looking at, the AGQ or silver, based on the fact that this gap didn't get filled within the first 60 minutes of the day,
Yeah.
would have led me to believe that ultimately it was going to be a gap and go. So I probably would have had like, two different entries, and both I would have gotten stopped out until I actually reversed the trade. But I probably would have been looking to front run a breakout somewhere in here or maybe in here. Ultimately wanted to increase my position as the 60-minute high got taken out, which, ultimately I didn't get, or I wouldn't have gotten. So I probably would have gotten stopped out somewhere on that candle or even on this one. At least if I was kind of entering through here.
Yeah.
Based on the kind of action that, with the intraday volatility that we've been seeing, I might have tried to enter another long position versus the low of the day, just thinking that it was going to hold. Again, I would have been stopped out on this candle or for sure on this candle. So it would have been kind of a rough day. I probably would have reversed and just in, thinking it through my head, I definitely would have reversed the trade. My target would be probably somewhere between 153 and the gap fill, but ultimately I'd want to be exiting the trade on that gap fill. Just being that on an intraday basis, when the gap doesn't fill within that first 60 minutes, if the gap fill does come later in the day, I'm going to be looking at the gap fill as kind of an area of support where I should be lightening up versus trying to hold it or, turn it into kind of like a swing or whatever.
Yeah.
I personally very rarely allow day trades to turn into like a swing or position trade unless I'm like really trying to kind of nitpick a position, or like I was in like an overweighted position and said, fuck it. Like if I took off 80%, I'd still be like, near a swing size. But trading like VPA, I think the reason people when you in my again kind of my opinion, when you have names that go parabolic or have like go on these insane runs, when they do ultimately like break and top out, I think that there's a lot of opportunity in the like on an intraday basis. So when you saw this happen, I think that this day, in kind of looking at this day probably, today, sorry, probably makes more sense. If you were leaning towards this being a continuation to the downside rather than the 50-day holding, you probably could have thrown fibs up and yeah, sure as shit, we basically failed right at the 50% of this candle. So when you see a leg in either direction, really no matter the time frame, I think it should be the 50% retracement should be looked at as, perfectly normal and healthy behavior in terms of like a retracement or a pullback. It's a pullback to the 50% is kind of giving price some reprieve, whether it's either, coming from an oversold or overbought conditions. Usually that 50% is enough to kind of at least bring that back to kind of neutral territory. I don't really have silver up. Let me just pull it up real quick. So for instance, like silver on the daily, the stochastics are reaching like a pretty wild over sold reading. So probably should have, if you were short silver, you probably should have anticipated the bounce. Um, and then today was also kind of your opportunity to reload short if you're leaning towards the short side. Your 50% here is your line in the sand. So if you think that this is ultimately kind of creating like an ABCD leg down. Um, you could just pop it up like that. And I don't know if that's not. I think that's more of kind of the scenario that you're looking at, especially if this like breaks even harder. Uh, yeah, I think when for me, if I'm in a name that is going parabolic, I'm not intelligent enough to necessarily call a top. I was watching people all over the place calling for the silver top, and they kept getting steamrolled. Interestingly, in 2 weeks we'll have options Sean on, and he's an option like a hardcore options guy, and I don't know what strategy he had on, but I know he had posted about it. He was in a net short silver position. I don't know. I think he was called an iron condor. I don't know if you're familiar with that, GP, but he basically was early on the trade and still ended up making out of the trade profitable. Not much, but it certainly beats taking a loss on a trade.
Yeah, but ultimately your process is broken, right? So you're like, oh, I think it's a short, but for you,
Yeah.
for the thing to move 38% to the downside and you barely make money,
No, he
you were
was
wrong. You were wrong.
he was short over here when I think a lot of people were calling short, not up here.
That's my point, right?
Oh, sure.
Like I know people who went short and a 38% move down. I think they used the ETF, right? ZSL, and their first buy, you had to have multiple buys, right? So if you layered into the short, you probably did better. But if you tried to short it at any point in time until it actually broke, like it
Yeah.
didn't even get back on a 38% move down in silver. It didn't even get back down to the highs at which he had bought the original
Yeah.
position.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like all these, like, unless you were like, hey, I know Friday, because it's month end and expiration of month end contracts, they're gonna pound silver. You could have gotten short intraday and made a butt ton of money. I'm not saying any of that stuff, but anything until that Friday reversal, you were eating grass, right, for a
Yeah.
long time. So yeah, that's just
Yeah,
my
I'm not an options guy, so I'm not very well versed in the terminology. It's just something I kind of avoid. Um, looking at the way that I would be or looking at silver currently, I think you still have a trade kind of set up into the 200 day. I think your line in the sand, especially as price is curling here, is probably above the 10 and the 20. I'm with you. Like I have a very difficult time both timing tops, and that's why I think it's very lazy of me, but I hold positions longer than I probably normally would if I didn't trail stop positions. And that's
Yep.
just using like whether it's if it gets really aggressive, I might push the 5 and or I'm sorry, the 10 into a 5, but usually the 10 and 20 suffice. Let's see.
Yeah, people don't like the podcast because it's bearish. Dude, the price action's bearish. I'm like, what do you want? I'm not sure what we can do to change that. We can't, right? So um, you're having 2-3x times moves in many names compared to the indices. once again.
Yeah. I mean, in some of these, it looks like there's still room. Yeah, you're right. I mean, with how the price action been, it's kind of it feels very like teetery. I think that if Mag does continue to hold where they're at and we do resume higher, I think some of these names could kind of start to regain and find their footing. But if Mag, I think ultimately it's going to take Mag to drop out of the range that they're currently in for like, it's going to look really ugly. And I think you could probably have alerts set on a lot of these names in both directions. You know, like for instance, if you're looking at like Nimbus, you know, and we do continue lower, you know, you're looking at kind of a retest of like the 50. I mean, that's still you know, 20, 30 point short here. I don't know. I'm generally pretty late to the top calling, but I'm hoping this holds.
I'm not calling tops or bottoms, right? I'm just saying we're range bound, and with every move down within the range, the weakness in underlying names is getting worse.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to focus on, not so much the range bound tops and bottoms and stuff like that. We're going lower in a lot of names by a long shot, right? Like if you thought you can buy the spot bottom, you just got bottomed out for another 7%, right?
Yeah,
So
totally.
look at Service Now. Casually down
shit.
Right?
Yeah.
What looked like capitulation is going down further, right? So I can go through the list of the names that are behaving terribly, and then randomly ONDS is up, but I think they're all up because of SpaceX.
I know.
Right?
What the fuck? Yeah.
And then SpaceX is up. I think it's the SpaceX stuff, right? It's because Rocket Labs is up, ASTS is up.
Yeah.
The theme of space is now back on the radar. So I'm at a loss of words in terms of what you can do with the markets here, right? So
yeah, I think you're limited to day trading. I think you can. Yep. I think both swing shorts are probably working better than even swing longs. And even if you are playing to the long side, even in what is working, I would, you know, like I caught XPO, but I didn't have the conviction to really put any size on it, just being how the market's behaving. You know, like I don't know. I think day trading and keeping position sizing small. I mean, even if I was playing to the short side, which I'm not very good at, I think every counter trend bounce when price is collapsing is like the one. So it's like impossible for me to hold on like on a swing short. Maybe I should really, you know, maybe now's the time to maybe practice.
So like I tried, so I'm shorting via futures, right? So sure. I tried I think 2 attempts of shorting since yesterday, right? And each time stopped out, right? Like it's just like, and then it breaks finally.
Yeah.
And I didn't take the short because I'm that guy at the moment, which lends me to the case of I don't have the edge that I need. Because what I thought was a short got stopped out. What I thought was a short got stopped out. What I thought was a short got stopped out, and then it finally breaks, and I'm like, yeah, obviously whatever I'm doing is not giving me the results that I need, and so I need to step back and wait for my edge to return.
Yeah, I mean that's self-awareness,
yeah.
And I think what a lot of people really need to focus on, if what you're doing is working and you are staying in step, moving your money and rotating with what is working in the direction you think the market's going, then, great. But like you said, if your edge isn't present for most, I think for a lot, you know, their their strategy and tool belt is relatively, I don't want to say limited, but like specific. Especially
Yeah.
for like Momo traders, for instance, like they lean into breakouts. You know, if breakouts aren't working, you've got to have the wherewithal to sit on your hands and wait until that returns to the market. Um, I hadn't even looked at Bitcoin today. Oof. I don't know how I feel about crypto.
Apathy?
Yeah, like I really am looking at this. I'm kind of comparing price where we're at now to here. I really don't like how the 30 and the 40 have crossed. Um, and I really wouldn't be surprised to see like I don't know, something gnarly. Let's see, what was this? 66 to, yeah, I would not be surprised to see something more violent like this kind of playing out from here. Which I think ultimately would kind of put us back in like the 40 to, like, I think being that price certainly doesn't look like it's going to hold right here. I automatically think price is going to gravitate towards the low end of the prior range. It's just kind of like price is moving from one range to another.
Yeah.
And if we're going to head to the low end of this range, probably get a bounce or a reprieve, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this kind of get undercut. Um, I think, this 50 to 60K is probably going to be a level and a level to trade against in on the upswing. Like, I don't think it's necessary. It might, we'll have to see how the candles look as price kind of comes into the lows of the range. Um, and see if kind of like I don't know if it looks more like it's gonna kind of V out, where you get kind of a capitulation low, price just kind of like sinks into it, it rolls a little bit and kind of puts in a higher low. And if we get that, we get that. Um, I mean, I certainly wouldn't be too bummed if we got like a complete collapse in crypto. Uh, I certainly would be a buyer, like anywhere down here. I don't. What was Ethereum? Yeah, Ethereum's looking kind of gross too.
All of it is, right? There's like
Yeah,
on these days, there's just no bid on the
yeah,
upside. It's literally only downside moves, and on the upside, it is constant grinding and battling and stuff. But on the down days, it's just butter, hot knife through a
relentless.
butter constantly, right?
Yeah,
There's there's no like outside of the opening candle yesterday where it was grind. As soon as we start grinding, you got to look for shorts because that's kind of what it is, right? And here comes Meta into that 691 level. Um, I'm sure we're missing bags to keep us grounded, but I don't.
I know.
What, dude? We're traders, right? And he's an investor, so that's why he
Yeah,
helps
yeah,
keep us grounded. But he's got to be looking at the price action in these names and saying, "Goodness, he's been buying service now, and it just doesn't stop going down." I mean, I know he's got cash to load at different positions, so that's fine. But um,
yeah.
it's
Man,
pretty brutal.
I
Pretty
thought
brutal.
the IGV was gonna. I was like, man, they're gonna hold it here. This is so. What I call this is a wedge drop,
Yep,
and
those are all.
yeah, they are. They are fucking brutal. It had a pretty decent and symmetrical looking, again, kind of descending wedge. even slice the 200-day, so you got kind of like a base count reset, and then it just dropped, and it was like, okay. So this was kind of what I was thinking about in like speaking of Bitcoin. It's like price basically. I know that we only got like a second here, but being this wedge drop, if I was looking at getting in the IGV, I certainly wouldn't have thought or been in the camp that this is necessarily going to hold, just being how this pattern built and what this happened. So considering it was a wedge drop, I would have thought it would have been a lot gnarlier. So the fact that we kind of, sliced through this, I'm already in the camp that I think the low end of the range is going to get tested. And if the low end of the range gets tested, again, what's stopping it from like what's really stopping it from undercutting this low? So I think like if this was like the Bitcoin chart, because it's kind of similar, 76 might be an area to play the IGV against on the upswing. So, price kind of like, comes, does something like, bounces a little bit, maybe slices and kind of retest somewhere, I don't know, in here to maybe fill a gap. And finally, like you kind of feel like a capitulation low got put in. This is how kind of the inverse head and shoulders gets built out, where again, I think that this level could be a level to play against, but on the upswing, not necessarily trying to catch the first test of this low. Yeah, anyways, guys, that's kind of the time for our show today. We'll be back at it tomorrow, and we'll have bags to rein us in.
I'm just talking price action ultimately, Nick. It's
not for great. Sure. No, I'm with you.
And if you're an investor and you think this is a buying opportunity, you should go for it. Right now, the only thing that you have in your favor is almost everything looks so bad that it should be good. So I'll leave you with that note.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. Hopefully that is a bullish thing again, leading into maybe we get surprise in Google and Amazon. It's enough to take us out.
Yeah, but what will participate? Is it only going to be like if it's only going to be Google and Amazon? Are they going to sell down Meta, Microsoft, and Apple? Right, which is what they did. Like Nvidia took a 6-point dump yesterday. Apple went up 11 points. They pretty much counterbalance each other.
Sure. I'm just trying to be optimistic.
I don't know what's going to separate us out of this range to the upside. There's plenty of stuff on the downside that will separate us, right? Like there will be enough news to break the range to the downside that you don't have to worry about that piece. It'll be war. It'll be Trump. Something. It'll be a recession, whatever. But yeah, but look at home builder stocks. I just like I said, I have no edge. I don't understand what's going on for the most part. So stay on the sidelines, take stops as necessary, raise cash, and deploy it when you have that edge to yourself.
True that. All right, fellas, we'll be back at it tomorrow on the Stock Twits.
That was a pretty miserable show.
Oh, and interestingly or timely, very timely, we've got Matt, Wall Street Wingman, with us tomorrow, I believe, if I remember right. That is tomorrow, or was that next week?
I think it's tomorrow, but ultimately he's probably going to say the same thing. Like, dude, this is bad.
Yeah,
we're gonna need Ben to ease us out.
Truth. All right. Peace out, guys, and we'll catch you tomorrow. I'm gonna end this stream.